Nearly 2 weeks since controversial Metro Police Chief Robert McBride crashed his car, and still no light yet on whether he was reckless or negligent. An arrest is made over the inflammatory video of Saddam's last minutes. And the Proteas claw their way back after India's devastating run fest. This is E-News Primetime. A very good evening. Are Metro Police covering up for their controversial chief, Robert McBride? It's been 12 days since McBride crashed his car minutes after leaving an office function. Yet police still haven't taken his statement and won't even say whether McBride took a blood alcohol test.
A few broken ribs, a bang on the head, a bruised leg. But Ekurhuleni Metro Police Chief Robert McBride walked away from this one with a little help from his friends, fellow Metro Police officers who whisked him away. Witnesses who stopped to help say Metro Police officers threatened them. Strong allegations, yet neither confirmed nor denied by Metro Police. And they're not the only questions. Why were McBride's fellow officers allowed to take charge of a crash scene when it was outside their jurisdiction? The crash happened in Centurion, which falls under the Tshwane Metropole. And why won't Ekurhuleni officials confirm whether or not McBride took a blood test? However, they deny there is a cover-up, saying there are legal implications when it comes to this case, so I can't speak to you about it. But if anyone wants to come with the view that we are protecting our boss, then let it be. This is where Robert McBride usually spends his days at work, but officials from his office are saying very little about what exactly happened on the night of his accident. Instead of waiting for them to get back to us, we decided to come to them. But 3 days into the new year, there are few people in the office. And McBride's stand-in Themba Mvelase wasn't keen to speak.
He says he cannot speak to you at the moment.
Oh, okay. McBride's office door remains locked and his cell phone is switched off. The SAPS has been investigating charges of reckless and negligent driving against McBride, and say they've handed their docket to Gauteng's Provincial Police Commissioner, but they still haven't taken McBride's statement. Belinda Moses, E-News, Johannesburg.
An Iraqi security guard has been arrested for allegedly leaking a controversial video of Saddam Hussein's execution. The footage shows the former Iraqi leader being taunted by his hangman minutes before he dies. The images have sparked an outrage in the Middle East.
This is the video that's causing all the uproar. In a loud and chaotic death chamber, Saddam starts praying. Prayers be upon the Prophet Muhammad and on his family, and glorify the mighty and curse his enemy. Spectators reply by chanting Muqtada, a cleric who was one of Saddam's most hated enemies. Saddam replies, "Is this how you show your bravery as men? Is this the bravery of Arabs?" They respond by shouting out another of his enemies' names and tell Saddam to go straight to hell. The taunting is interrupted by another official, but the damage is done. Moments later, the trapdoor opens, as does the flood of anger towards the United States and those who executed Saddam. Thousands have gathered across the Middle East to protest, chanting death to America and vowing revenge. The US has denied any role in Saddam's execution.
If you're asking me, would we have done things differently? Yes, we would have. But that's not our decision. That's a government of Iraq decision.
The Iraqi government has condemned the leak video. One Iraqi guard present at the execution has been arrested. Saddam was convicted of crimes against humanity for ordering a Shiite massacre in 1982. Two former aides who were on trial with Saddam are expected to be executed on Thursday. One is Saddam's half-brother.
There's more heartache for the top restaurateur whose daughter was recently kidnapped. His oldest son is now missing, presumed drowned. He was washed out to sea yesterday and police divers are still searching for his body.
A father waiting for the worst possible news to be confirmed. Mzoli Gcazele says he and his family can't start healing until his oldest son's body is found. Police divers and helicopters have been searching for 27-year-old Unati Gcazele since he disappeared at about 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning. But the recovery is being hampered by a spring tide, poor visibility and the sighting of 4 great white sharks in the area.
The young man was swimming in the shallow water just off these rocks when he was suddenly swept away in front of his friends and brother. They jumped in to try and save him, but couldn't fight the strong current and had to let him go.
This is the second traumatic event to strike this well-known Cape Town family in just 3 weeks. Last month, Gcazele's 19-year-old daughter Sisanda was kidnapped. After a grueling 3-day search, police found her bound and gagged in a Tableview townhouse.
We are really, it's bleeding. It's bleeding. You know, we haven't recovered from Sisanda. This happens. Well,
Gcazele had taken his daughter on holiday to the Eastern Cape when he received the latest news. He says his son was a strong swimmer and had spent New Year's Day on this same beach. Amy Brooke, E-News, Cape Town.
Heartless thieves have struck a new low in Cape Town. They've broken into the offices of The Big Issue, the magazine sold by homeless people. Not once, but 3 times in 10 days. And the latest burglary could spell disaster for hundreds of families.
The Big Issue is designed to help the poorest of the poor. They sell it on the street and pocket half the money. In its 10 years here, it's raised around 10 million rand for the poor. But it's starting the new year in crisis. Thieves first struck this office just before Christmas Day, and again last week, and then again this week. Among the items stolen, the computer that contains the magazine's next issue.
We're working with some of the most marginalised and some of the poorest families, individuals in this area, and quite literally what it means for them is that if there's no magazine, there's no food on the table.
It's the first time the offices have been burgled, and the street sellers are stunned.
This is our only source of living as homeless people and the jobless ones. So I think the guy or the people who did this thing, they must be ashamed of themselves, because this is the way of making an honest living.
Staff are racing to pull together the next issue from scratch. They're also beefing up security. Scheherazade Safla, E-News, Cape Town.
And let's take a quick look now at how the markets have performed. When E-News Primetime continues, just how does a passenger jet with over 100 people on board disappear into thin air?